do this. You're gonna okay. So I want to introduce you to Rugged Midwesterner. All right.
He's very rugged.
He's rugged, right? He's a very rugged gentleman. He's gonna tell you about why all police are racist.
He looks like he cosplays as Bray Wyatt.
Oh yeah. He looks like Fingerless Gloves comic.
Big J Okerson.
He looks like Big J Okerson.
But young Big J. Remember when Jay had long hair?
Yeah,
Remember
he looks like young
J?
Big J Okerson if he was a roadie for Metallica.
By the way, lots of bracelets, lots of rings. This guy likes to floss.
Okay, here we go.
No. We have a problem in this country. Well, we have a lot of problems in this country, but
Did you expect that voice?
No, I did not.
there's only so much time in the day and only so many topics I can cover. And the specific thing that I want to talk about today...
Why is he in the fucking bunker that Bin Laden filmed the 9/11 video in?
I don't know. Let Bizarro, Ethan Ralph talk.
All right.
with you
Right.
is how the police specifically targets people of color. Why they do that, and how we can fix it.
How we can fix.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Rugged Midwesterner, but I'm not a person of color, so it's not my problem to fix.
Yeah.
See how that works? I got my own life to worry about, bud. People are saying it's also a Bizarro failure.
Okay, yeah.
This is not going to be easy. This probably isn't going to be quick. But we can get through it. Wow, that sounds... When they put it like that, it sounds really bad.
And gay and stupid.
And dumb.
So my
Preamble. There's a
experience
preamble, dude.
watching...
Wait, that wasn't the
racist-
preamble?
No, this is the preamble. The other
So
thing
that was the pre-preamble?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
and people who are not racist debate is that the biggest and most common thing that the fascists and fascist-adjacent people get hung up on...
I'm sorry.
Fascist adjacent.
Is that a new one?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. What's fascist adjacent?
Well,
Like Hitler's neighbor?
yeah, if you get on a plane and you're seated in 4D and a guy in a white polo shirt is seated at 4C, you are now fascist adjacent.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
on is definitions. They'll yell at each other and debate each other for days,
There's
for
this,
weeks
like-
about the definitions of certain specific words. So I'm going to be about as clear as I possibly can
I don't like this new. I don't like these new Michael Ray Bauer videos.
It's not what I'm talking about.
in an attempt to avoid that specific pitfall.
This is a really weird Jablinski games, and it's really...
By the way, the T-shirt with a fucking flannel shirt over it look.
Yeah.
We could admit, right? I was in 7th grade when I did it.
And even still, it's embarrassing. Like it was terrible.
When
Yeah, but
I-
you can see a picture of you from 2001 like that, and you're like, all right,
All right,
you
it
know,
made sense,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, you know, it's not like when you see an old fucking late 80s, yearbook picture, and they all have mullets, and you're like, all right, but at the time, it was pretty glorious.
Yeah, this guy dresses like Cousin Joe now.
He really does.
talk about the police.
The band? The police?
I
Or are
hope-
we just talking about Sting solo with the lute? Because, I mean, look, I like some police songs, and honestly, overrated. Police are overrated. They're not bad, but overrated.
Yeah.
How many good songs do they really have?
Like 4 or 5 really
Yeah,
solid
really good.
ones.
Yeah.
I'm specifically...
By the way, I
referring-
hope his bandana gets him killed by both Bloods and Crips.
referring to a law enforcement organization, keyword organization, that works under the jurisdiction...
You know, it's too bad.
Jurisdiction. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. He's Michael Ray Bauer. I
Yeah.
knew I was picking up a fucking lisp.
of a city, state...
He
You know,
is-
it's too bad it wasn't a garlic bread festival because he might not be here today.
anything carb related. But dude, you could tell this guy has gone to many a speech therapist to fix that.
Somebody, the Casparella's calling him Kale Loaf.
He's literally, but you could tell this guy worked really hard over many years to fix his lisp, but it's still there.
He stood there. Like Cody Rhodes. He looks like an Eddie Vedder cosplayer.
He looks like he ate an Eddie Vedder cosplayer.
or the federal government. When I use the word racist or racism, I'm specifically describing actions that result in the...
An action.
proportionate targeting and negatively affect people of color. Now, to be absolutely crystal clear, what I am not doing
is having sex with women. That is something I will not be doing.
is talking about individuals.
Here it is. Yeah, it is. And now I'm picking it up.
I'd rather have Cody's lisp than this lisp. You know what I mean? Like, you get a lisp like this, you can get around it. But, like, hey, look at Jay Leno. It's got a lisp. But, like, this is really embarrassing.
It sounds like he has dentures.
He sounds like Shelly from South Park.
You're right.
Stan, Stan. Cops are racist, Stan.
Not just
No, he didn't lose his red ski mask. This is a different person.
This is how not to alpha male.
because parsing out the
Hello, you're watching How to Beta Male. And this is his thing. He does How to Beta Male, so he doesn't want to get found out when he does How to Alpha Male.
It's the same guy, yeah.
Yeah, because it'd blow up his whole thing.
I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top.
and the morality of every individual working for every law enforcement agency that I've described could literally take centuries.
You're right. That's why he has the over
Weird
like
inflection.
intellectual part, because
was
he's
taught to speak
trying
that way.
He was trying to work out the you're right.
He went to a speech therapist, and the speech therapist taught him tricks on how to speak, so you can do this.
Enunciate
and
more.
But he's still slipping in.
But also because I'm not convinced that it's entirely relevant. When you're talking about the structure.
By the way, this guy has had a lot of people in life pull this move on him.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's that? That fucking dude, they're
go.
calling me, man. I gotta go real
gotta
quick. I guarantee you this dude has had that move pulled on
He
him.
corners people at parties.
He is a Guinness World Record holder for times people went, what's that? Ah, fuck, man. Royce is calling me. He's being real thick right now. I gotta go, man. Work stuff. You get it.
I'm going to skip the preamble, and we're going to get right to part one, a racist history.
So the organizations that we call the police now began in the United States as slave patrols in the South.
No,
By the way,
that's
so
not
not
true. That's so not true. It's insane.
They would go out, they would capture escaped slaves, and they would bring them back to their racist slave
First of all,
holders.
that's not true. Okay, that's not how the police were formed. Secondly, they escaped. Somebody had to go get them, sir. You don't get you don't just escape.
And also, there has been forms of law enforcement in the ancient ancient Greece, in Rome. You know what I mean? There has been a generalized law enforcement. America didn't invent police. You know what I mean?
The police were invented in 1842 by Americans.
No.
Let's say. That is a historical fact.
How many fedoras does he own?
You can't dispute that in good
You
faith.
can't dispute
I
it.
just did
You can
dispute it.
But that's what leftists do. They don't actually provide any facts. They just say, you can't dispute this. And when you do, they go, those are Nazi facts. And you go, all right, then forget it. I don't know.
This is
Forget it. I give up.
It is also a historical fact that the police, modern police, explicitly and deliberately upheld explicitly racist laws. That's what the Jim Crow laws were. That's
By the
what
way, stupid. Is that what the cops do? They don't uphold the law. They just enforce the laws. They don't make the laws. He's making it sound like the cops make the laws.
policing. In fact, U.S. police this from Time is a relative modern invention sparked by changing notions of the public. Policing in colonial America had been very informal, based on for-profit, privately funded system that employed people part-time. Towns and also commonly relied on night watch, in which volunteers signed up for a certain day of time, mostly look out for fellow colonialists, engaging in prostitution or gambling. Boston started one in 1636, New York followed in 1658, and Philadelphia created one in 1700. But the system was very efficient because the watchmen often slept and drank while on duty. That sounds awesome. And there were people, but back then, so what? That's what you did. Back then, there were people who were put on watch and duty as a form of punishment. Oh, so like the Night's Watch. Oh, that's why it's called Night Watch. Got it.
Civil rights movement was about stopping. There are still people alive who not only had to face oppression from the police due to their race back in the 60s, but there are still people alive who enforced those laws.
Do you know that
and
they?
who
Do
will
you know,
probably
by the
tell you,
law?
yeah, I did.
By the way, these laws have been around for a long time. The laws. You could, dude. You could pander to black people for 1,000 years, sir. They will never respect you.
No.
If any black friend that I've ever had, if they heard this guy talking right now, they'd be like, "What's this dude just? Is he trying to get some black pussy or something?"
Exactly.
What is he doing?
Some racist shit in my time as a cop. These are facts. You cannot dispute these things in good faith. Which means that they're not really interesting to talk about. Because the only people you'll find who are willing to talk about those things are people who are acting in bad faith. People who are saying...
And by the way, I'm 100% sure that there were probably cops that picked up slaves. Because at the time, that was the job. But they weren't just picking up slaves. They were, busting moonshine rig. It wasn't just one thing,
will say that Jim Crow laws...
But we can agree that escaped slaves technically were criminals.
That's correct.
At the time.
At the time.
That's not me, man. Just saying within the letter of the law, you escaped. You're a criminal. You need to be brought in for justice or something.
It's really racist. Or that slavery was a good thing overall.
He goes, he's educating us. He's not.
I'm not interested in talking to those people. I don't think you should be either. So I'm going to very kindly take all of that baggage and put
Baggage. There it is. It came out again. Baggage.
it aside. So instead, we'll start this conversation with 37th President of the United States and friend of the channel,
Jimmy Carter.
Tricky Dick.
Richard Nixon was pretty cool. Oh no, he's not.
I didn't know this.
Can you do the I am not a crook?
I think he's gonna do a whole bit.
With 37th President of the United States and friend of the channel, Tricky Dick. I'm not a crook.
Oh no!
I'm not a crook.
Oh!
I can't look at this
No, dude, I'm not. It's not a bit. I'm so uncomfortable.
Dude, what the fuck, man? He was kidding.
I can't do this. He did the arm not a crook.
I'm not a crook. I would hope that it is well known enough that Nixon specifically targeted people of color, the nascent Black Power movement, and the anti-war movement.
Yeah, that's because the Black Power movement in the 60s and 70s were in many ways militant separatist movements and communist organizations that were actually firebombing things and harming people. First of all, let's stop pretending like the left only used flowers and hugs and free love in the 60s.
That's
and
all
70s.
they used.
They used car bombs. They blew up buildings. They set fire to things. They shot police officers. Let's stop pretending like they were just good boys who didn't do nothing. The left was extremely violent in the 60s and 70s.
For persecution, that I don't have to explain the specifics of it. There's an Adam Ruins Everything segment that goes into...
His source, Mike. So did you use sources? Adam Ruins Everything is his source.
No.
Listen to this again.
They targeted people of color, the nascent Black Power movement, and the anti-war movement for persecution that I don't have to explain the specifics of it. There's an Adam Ruins Everything segment that goes into not only how drug laws are ineffective...
This is where you get your stuff from?
That's where they get his source from. Adam Ruins
This
Everything.
man... Can I just say this? I hope this isn't breaking terms
Okay,
of service.
sure.
This man is a boob.
I'm going to dump out. Oh, wait, we can't. It's YouTube.
This man is a boob. There's no... Right? Is that a great description for him?
He's a dumb person.
He's a boob.
He's a dumb person. All right, let's go back to Scuff Pepper Hicks.
But how
Shout out to High Society, by the way. Great guys, all of them. Seriously.
Nixon
Except that Bronx Johnny. I don't
Fuck
like
that
guy.
Bronx. Oh, fuck you. Oh, we're fighting Bronx. I love Bronx. The nicest guy in America, I think.
empowered law enforcement to go after those groups using strict anti-drug laws. If you want to know more.
Strict anti-drug laws. He sounds like a fucking jukebox that you unplugged right at the end of the sentence. Guys, make sure you don't enforce these drug laws.
Henry Winkler has to hit it to turn him back on.
More about that. Something we have to bear in mind, too.
I'm an uneducated moron. And again, what concrete room does he live in? Seriously, we haven't really appreciated his background. What is up with this concrete den that he's in? He doesn't have a wall. Where does he work in
Really
a
feels like a prison cell.
He lives in an abandoned factory?
This actually kind of reminds me of the old Mankind promos when he was in the boiler room.
Oh yeah, yep.
A lot of those laws are
It kind of
still
does look like if Mick Foley joined a gay biker gang.
in the books today, which means that there are specifically, deliberately racist laws still being enforced around the country. This is why talking about individual actions is kind of useless in a broader context. Regardless of the intentions of the person who's enforcing those laws, they are literally...
You're right, he does look more like... Someone says he looks more like Dude Love. If he's going to be any Mick Foley character, he's Dude Love. Dude Love, baby.
Enforcing a racist law.
By the way, I found our interview with Mick Foley. Dude, 2012 interview was great.
Right? And you can't argue that those laws were or are ineffective. We know the numbers. People of color, and especially black people, are arrested.
Who was his speech therapist? George Takei?
Yeah, he's not doing great, yeah.
Yes, talk like this and sexually harass people.
More?
Let me see that Smokey and the Bandit cock.
I came here to steal memes and rape young boys, and I'm all out of stolen memes.
Are charged with crimes more and receive disproportionately harsher sentences. And that's even taking into account that black people...
The way he talks, it sounds like James Nguyen from Birdemic should be directing him. And she software?
Do more crime overall. These things are...
Who does more crime overall?
White cis males.
Who does 50% of the crimes?
You cannot argue them and still be in good faith. You can argue...
You're going to set up the boundaries of what we could talk about.
The reason that those facts exist, certainly. And you can argue the effects that those facts have on discourse or on the community that they affect. But you can't argue the extent of those facts.
No, you can. That's the point of a debate, you fag.
Yeah.
Racist laws, and they are being used in a racist way. These are not things that you can argue. But none of these things explain exactly how you can have a police force that is effectively persecuting the majority of people in the country.
Really? Because
he has a trouble with J's and G's.
Hey, faggot, let me break this down for you. I've been harassed by police before. I've had to do the... where you lay on your stomach like you're doing a snow angel while like 3 cops have guns pulled on you. Like, I've had that happen to me. Misunderstanding, you know what I mean? They check everything out. I got back up. The key is, right, certain people culturally tend to not obey commands, and they tend to be very, dare I say, Royce, uppity with the police. And they do things like, man, why y'all fucking hassling me? Whereas, again, I've had cops literally do the open the door from the outside with your hands. Like, I had to do that before. Get on your stomach. All this because, I don't know, misunderstanding. It was a, clerical error, let's say. But they did their thing. They went through all my shit. They ran my stuff, and they were like, okay, you're free to go. I didn't do the whole, what, man, why the fuck y'all hands? I was like, oh, shit, they have guns and they're police officers. And I know I didn't do anything wrong. So, hey, cool, we good? We're good? Thank fucking Christ. And then you leave.
I had something like that happen to me. I was This is in South Florida. I was leaving the gym. It was me, my brother, and one of our friends. And mind you, I mean, I'm in my mid-20s at that point, and we're just leaving the gym and we're walking out. And at the time, my dad owned a red F-150, right? So we're walking out of the gym, and there's a red F-150 pulling up, and my dad was right by there. And we're walking to our car, and we just start looking at the F-150 because we're like, oh, is that my dad? Oh, man. That pulls up. Turns out it was Vice cops, undercover cops pulled up. They told us to put our hands on our car, and like they searched our car and they went through everything, and we're like, I went along with everything. There was no. I said, what happened? Like, what was the problem? He goes, you were eyeballing our truck. I'm like, my dad has the same truck, and it was hilarious because it was like they're at a central casting. It was a black cop and a white cop. The black cop was wearing a because they're trying to fit in. You could only tell in their cop. He was wearing a backwards cap, and a black oversized shirt and jeans, so he looked like a hood. And the white cop looked like the one with the two of them the mustache from Reno 911.
Junior or Garcia?
Junior.
Okay.
Looked just like Junior. And it was like they had their badge around their neck like it was training day.
I had that happen too. There was the same thing when it happened to me. It was the guys with it was plainclothes.
Yeah, plainclothes. Yeah,
and it was because again, like this is the problem with certain people who tend to get uppity with the police. They get pulled over, right? And they're like, license, registration, please. You got anything in the car? Yo, man, why the fuck you hassling me, right? But they're like actually drug dealers too,
right?
Like on top of it. Whereas I knew when I used to sell drugs, like not to have drugs on me because like I've always been pretty careful about that sort of stuff. So like I knew that at any given time somebody else would get caught and they would dime me out. Like that's just what people do. They fucking throw you under the bus. So I've never been angry with cops pulling me over back when I was a drug dealer because I'm like, I'm a fucking drug dealer.
Right.
Of course they're going to be checking in. So like there were times where they did that. They searched my car when I had to go through that. And I was joking with them at the end of it because I was a little annoyed with them because they made up a whole you ran a stop sign thing, which I knew I didn't because it was in my neighborhood, like within 4 blocks of my house. I'm like, I know there's no stop sign there. But again, I'm not going to fight. They searched my whole car, and I remember I had a New York Post, and I had a Gatorade, and I had a bag of Cheetos. I remember this day, and they put the Post on the roof of my car, and they put the Gatorade on top of it, and then they put the fucking Cheetos on there. And then they just went through the car, and they decided, do you have anything? Does he have anything? No, everything's clear. And they were like, all right, you can get up, whatever. And then they let me back to my car, and I remember to this day, I literally picked the Cheetos up, and I was like, you got me, boys. Like that was literally all I said to them. And then and they knew what I was doing, and I knew it. But they were like, "All right, get out of here." And I was like, "Oh boy, we're just gonna let this slide. We're gonna let the Cheetos slide. All right, man. I'll see you guys later." But I never got like uppity with them about like, "Yo, this is bullshit." It's like, no, they're doing their job. I mean, it's you can't be mad if you're a commercial fisherman and that's what you do for a living. And then game and wildlife come and hassle you once in a while. You're in their wheelhouse, brother. They're gonna ask you questions.
Let's talk about that.
Part 2, sociological factors.
So it's been known for a great deal of time that poverty and crime are two sides of the same coin. They are both symptoms of a greater sociological ill.
Also like a community, a certain community.
Now, what you call that ill, whether you call it...
You know what really bothers me? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that bothers me. But you see his hand?
Let's talk...
How he has like a
rosary.
Is that what that is?
It's a rosary, yeah.
Oh, I hate this guy.
And they're going to be put in jail. And they're going to be convicted as criminals. Which makes it more likely that they're going to become more impoverished. Societies all throughout human history have known this and utilized it to their advantage.
Okay, can I ask you a simple question then, sir? Why do blacks keep shooting everyone? Question.
Don't be racist.
Comment?
You're being racist.
Comment, sir? Am I wrong here? Because there's a lot of rappers in jail right now. I don't see fucking Garth Brooks and fucking, you know what I mean? You don't see Garth Brooks. There's no special Travis Allen and Garth Brooks sitting in a jail cell going, what are you in for? Oh, man, I was shooting at police, selling drugs.
in the Trump International hotel in Miami, there was these rappers that were, decently, one of those that they're big for the town, like big for their county or big for, I wouldn't say big time rappers, but rappers. They have money. So they were staying at the Trump International in Sunny Isles. And then you wonder, why would they let these people in? Because they had money and they basically rented a whole floor just for themselves, right? They went down downstairs to the lobby area, and there was a drive-by, a rival gang or rapper, whatever, drive-by shooting at them. They had guns of their own. They started firing back with assault rifles, right? So they start shooting, but neither one of them hit each other.
Shocker.
Bullet goes across the street to where the Burger King is, kills an Indian guy, 20 years old, that just got married the day before. Stray bullet. Now, of course, somebody's getting a murder charge for that, and obviously, and everybody involved is going to be culpable. And again, it wasn't rootin' tootin' cowboys doing it, bud. And you said, I like how he said poverty and race. There's plenty of certain groups of people that get plenty of money and still act and still do this hood rat stuff.
And I know a lot of poor people that don't use poverty as an excuse to break the law and to terrorize innocent people. You know what I mean? Like, dude, even the guys I'm used to dealing with back in the day that were drug dealers and shit, they weren't shooting up places indiscriminately. Like any guys I've ever dealt with in my life, because I won't deal with somebody, even if it's a great deal, but they're the kind of people that will fling bullets wildly into a Burger King, are not the kind of people I want to fuck with, because I don't want things coming back to me. The people I always dealt with, they would never just shoot up a fucking in the middle of a street during the day.
Yeah.
They might kill somebody, but they'll go to your house at 2 a.m. and kick the door in and fucking shoot you in your bed. This like he said, there's certain groups of people
here's
that are
another thing.
indiscriminately shooting shit.
Plexico Burris had millions of dollars, and he still did hood rat shit in the club. Remember he shot himself?
Yeah, but that was they really made him pay for that. I thought
Well,
it was
they
pretty
did, but
fucked
yeah.
up. I thought it was pretty fucked up.
Because you're a Jets fan.
No, he was on the Giants when it happened.
Oh, you're right.
But
you're right.
it just was like one of those things where if he was flashing it around and then he shot himself, but he wasn't even doing it. He's just an idiot black guy that put it in his waistband and shot himself.
Aim.
And they gave him time for that.
Aim.
I felt bad for Plax.
Let me read some Streamlabs here. All right. Dr. Whitey Bulger. Bulger's taking bets. Who plays Minecraft first, the kid or the dad? Oh, they're talking about the trans kids. And parlay that with the mom-blaming society when it happens for 20% of the original bet. Venmo and Bitcoin accepted. Buy in now. Dr. Whitey Bulger. Only thing rugged about this dude is his stench. And Anonymous, Trump has just signed the permanent 9/11 compensation bill into act.
Guys, we're going to keep just taking money
Pump it.
moving it around into different things, and it'll all disappear. It's going to be really great.
Can I tell you, some of the stuff, man?
Because those 89-year-old babies in 2090 they're gonna have no parents. We're talking 89 years old, orphaned.
I was listening to Mark Levin, and he went in on Rand Paul, like hard. Like it was out of the blue. He's like, he knows what he's doing. He's a leftist. His policy is all leftist policy. He's just like his crazy dad. And Mark is another one that's trying to push for that war in Iran.
He wants it bad.
Yeah, they want it
What
bad.
do all those people have in common, Royce?
They're all radio show hosts, Mersh.
Is that it? They don't share any other
Come on, man.
distinguishing
Don't do this to me.
characteristics?
Why would you do this to me?
What else do they have in common?
They're
I would have went with the neocons.
They're neocons. They're all neocons. You're right. They're all neocons. Yeah.
Guys, we really need to purge all of the neocons.
Mm-hmm.